Barack Obama goes, I don't really want to be tied into this radical left movement. And I think you're making a mistake assessing him. He is all about economics. He's not about social. In fact, Barack Obama, if you look at him, outside of the drug use, a pretty standardized guy. He's not a hippie. He's not, that kind of a person.
He's not a socialist.
I think he is an income redistributor.
Socialist. Okay, yeah. And his wife is even more so.
Yes. She's much more socially liberal than Barack Obama.
Yeah, I don't mean about social. I don't mean necessarily about society. I do mean about changing the culture of the country and fundamentally transforming it. Those are his words and her words. But they are for American standards, they used to be radicals. They are socialists.
All right,
but they're now looking like, you're right, Sean Hannity.
Yeah, look, they don't want to be tied in. The Obamas don't want to be tied in with a drastic defeat. That's where you start. Number two, all right, their philosophy links into the far left. There is a link there. I don't like labeling people unless there is beyond a reasonable doubt. But their philosophy,
I proved
Obama's
it for
philosophy,
2 years on Fox News, but you were busy.
The prevailing wisdom of the far left, and this is why they do what they do and say what they say, is that America is an evil country.
Yes.
All right? From the very beginning of the founding fathers, the slave holders, this has been an exploitative country run by rich white guys who have screwed everybody else. And because of that, now it's our time. And we have to change everything to punish the white guys, the patriarchy, take all of their assets and money, and this includes corporations and Wall Street, and give it to those people whose ancestors were exploited. If you understand that, and it is no doubt about it, if you understand that, everything you hear from Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, and all the rest of them makes perfect sense.
Yep.
The income redistribution policies of Barack Obama make perfect sense. The problem with it is that, number one, most Americans don't believe that, all right? And number two, wherever the socialist policies have been implemented, have turned into totalitarian disasters.
Correct.
Okay? So those are the two problems. That's where you start with the far left.
Now, may I ask you this question? Bernie Sanders now in the latest poll is, I think, 1 point ahead of Joe Biden. This thing is a free-for-all. I think you could head to a fractured
well, you're talking
convention.
about Iowa,
Yeah.
In a national, real clear politics average, Biden still has a comfortable lead.
Yeah, well, national polls don't really mean much when you're talking about the primaries. But let me just hear me out for a second. If they go to a fractured convention and they need to broker, they need to broker a new deal.
Right.
The one to obviously call on is Michelle Obama, and the Obamas are positioning themselves back into the center and looking like they're not part of all of this.
Right.
You think that plays a role in any of this?
Possible, but the people who know Michelle Obama, who I know, say that she sincerely does not want to do that, does not want to run for president.
I believe that.
Okay. So I see it's more of a Bloomberg play, that Bloomberg will be hovering around and will tell the Democratic power brokers, say, you may not like me because I'm a rich white guy, but I can beat him. And since you don't have anybody else, let me be the nominee.
So Bloomberg is playing the Rudy Giuliani strategy from a few years ago with the GOP and putting all of his eggs in Super Tuesday, hoping that there is a different winner in every primary.
Yeah, that nobody goes in with a commanding lead.
Correct.
But Bloomberg knows he doesn't really have a chance to get as enough delegates to win. He's doing two things. If there is a brokered convention, there he is. And even if there is a nominee, it'll probably be Biden, and Biden will give me Secretary of State or Secretary of Treasury.
Bill,
that's what Bloomberg wants.
Because I think that the split-up convention thing does lead to some possibility for, Bloomberg in this, sort of fantasy world I'm sure he's living in.
And so is Hillary.
However,
Hillary
I think maybe
Bloomberg will be there.
Because he's not really a consensus candidate for the left, Bloomberg. What he might be, though, is an alternative if Sanders sweeps the early primaries and Biden's campaign is in shambles. You have Bloomberg there as an alternative to a Bernie, which there is a good chunk of the Democrats who they actually don't want him to be the nominee. They take almost anybody else, and he's got billions of dollars to spend. Is there a possibility there for Bloomberg?
It's a tough call for the Democratic Party because if they give it to Bloomberg, all the far left progressives stay
crazy.
Home. And I don't think black Americans are going to vote for Bloomberg either, all right? I could be wrong on the last one, but I know the progressives will not buy into it.
So this is
and
just
the media that props up the far left doesn't want Bloomberg either, although the New York Times would probably, reluctantly get behind him.